Om Gunatita Gunadhara Gunavija Gunatmakaha Gunisha Guninang Bija Guninang Gurave Namaha. Thou art the one beyond all attributes, yet thou supportest them all. Thou art the origin of all attributes, and abidest in them as their self. Thou art the Lord of those who possess noble attributes. Thou art also their progenitor and teacher. Salutations to thee. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning. Today we are going to talk about Swami Shivananda, Mahapurush Maharaj. Today is his anniversary service. And
Swami, could you please speak a little louder?
So, probably you may remember that last week on Monday we have celebrated Swami Shivananda's birthday, Janmatithi. So this Sunday we'll talk about his life and one special characteristic of his life. So the title of our talk is Mahapurush Maharaj, the life that knew no I. I, in Vedanta, sometimes there is a term called ahamkara. Ahamkara, the I maker. According to in Advaita Vedanta, it is a vritti, the ego, I consciousness, a modification of our mind that arises from avidya, ignorance. First, from avidya or ajnana, it comes the consciousness I and mine, me and mine. So, the moment the self is perceived as agent, enjoyer, knower, or sufferer, the infinite Brahman appears as a finite subject, a sense of separateness. I am separated from something. I am a distinct personality, a different from the creation. Therefore, the ending of ego is not the destruction of individuality as such, but the cessation of false attribution. Sometimes we may feel, I hope not, but the beginners of who started studying Vedanta, oh, I may lose my individuality. So it is not, we are not talking about that. It is about cessation of false identification. I am thinking I am a finite object now. Sometimes in Christian mysticism we call that it is the birth of God in the soul, which occurs when the soul relinquishes its possessive, self-willed center. Mr. Eckhart writes that God cannot enter where the ego still insists on its own importance. It echoes with Sri Ramakrishna. Think about some program is going on, some festival you are celebrating in your house, and you cannot see that you cannot perform all those responsibilities. Sometimes you ask one of your friends that, can you look after the store for today? If somebody wants something, so that you can give it. So as long as your friend is there in the storehouse, you need not to think about that. So as long as here, me, the finite I is there, God cannot enter. He never feels so. When ego ends, God reigns at the soul reality. The individual no longer claims agency. All actions are seen as expressions of Brahman manifested through the body and mind. Through this mind, it is an instrument of you, O God. Please use my body and mind. And whatever you want to do, please perform through this instrument. So, when ego ends, what happens? It is a first thing. What happened? It is not the destruction of individuality, but its restoration to truth. First thing we have to remember: we are not destroying our individuality, but that it is restoration of truth. I am always connected. I am a part, just like a wave. When you utter the word wave, so wave is not separate from the ocean. It's a part of ocean. Rather, you can call that wave, you are ocean. So it is a restoration of truth, freed from the tyranny of self-centeredness. Now you are not feeling any satisfaction. I am wave. Now you feel I am the ocean. It gives you immense satisfaction. The human spirit becomes transparent to the divine. In Advaita, God reigns as pure consciousness. In Bhakti, God reigns at the Supreme Beloved, that real identity. And in mysticism, God reigns in the surrendered soul. In Mahapurush Maharaj's life, we have seen this absence of ego. So let us start from his childhood. It was started from his family. His mother was unique. His father was unique. He held his parents in the highest reverence, always. He always talked about his mother. He told that this inspiration of spiritual life I imbibed this spirit from my mother. In my family, their native place was in Barasat. It is not far from Calcutta. It would take, I think, 30 minutes if you drive a car from Belur Math or Calcutta. Sri Ramakrishna knew his father actually. When a particular stage of his sadhana, when Sri Ramakrishna was suffering, we call Gatra Daha. A certain stage he was suffering from some pain, bodily pain. So Mahapurush Maharaj, that Swami Shivananda's father, being a seeker of a devotee of Mother Kali in Tantric tradition, he visited once Dakshineshwar and he gave some medicine. So he knew actually his father, but when Mahapurush Maharaj, his pre-monastic name was Tarak, when he first visited Belur Math, first visited Dakshineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna didn't know that he is the son of that particular person called Ramkanai Ghoshal. That was his father's name. So in later years, Swami Shivananda told, my mother, whose name was Bama Sundari, was deeply religious, truly Lakshmi-like in nature. He was as if goddess Lakshmi. Lakshmi, when you call somebody in Bengali, it is peculiar, a strange, unique term. Lokhi me. Amar ma Lokhi chil. My mother was Lakshmi. It means that her presence always would bring sweetness. Her manners was well organized. So a charming personality. That was her mother. So he was truly Lakshmi-like in nature. My father, too, was highly devout and virtuous, and his income was more than sufficient. My father kept 25 to 30 poor boys in our own house, providing them with food and clothing. They all studied in Barasat school, a nearby school, and I lived and studied along with them. My mother cooked for everyone with her own hands. When my father wished to appoint a Brahmin cook, my mother would not allow it. He would say, "It is my great good fortune that I am able to cook and feed so many boys. I want to do it with my own hand." So interesting, this me and mine, how it plays that day, probably on Monday. We are reading from a book. And Mahapurush Maharaj, Swami Shivananda, he mentioned, you see, where there is me and mine, too much of me and mine, it always seeks comfort. When me and mine, it is too much, it's a sign. When you have a less ego, you do not look for your own comfort. Interesting thing. You want to serve others. You want to step out from your comfort zone. I want to do something for my friend. So having friend also is a good sign. So you are trying to, at least you are thinking about somebody else. So, and another interesting thing is, one is me and one is mine. A subtle thing to observe. When you have of too much me and mine, you have crowded, you make your room crowded with so many things. How it works? Suppose me, think about it's my room, my world, my world. So when maybe this wristwatch, it is my wristwatch. So when you uttered this word, the watch was not in a room. You invited your watch in your room. That is called my. No? So whenever you find some interest in something, actually you are inviting somebody extra, a new person, new object in your room. So if you are a seeker of God, your goal is me and my Lord, me and my God. When you have so many mine, so all those things will, me, my God, and that chair, me, my God, and that pen, me, my God, and something else. So interesting and very important thing in our spiritual life. So always we talk about that that spiritual life is all about that attenuating your ego, I and consciousness. So, but we hardly think about that. But in Mahapurush Maharaj's life, he imbibed without knowing probably the science behind it in the beginning when he was a boy, young boy. But he learned from his family itself. And we have talked about his mother and father also. He's saying, I didn't receive much special affection or indulgence from my mother. Interesting. I imbibed this spirit from my mother, but at the same time, as a young boy, we think our children, they may not understand what I am doing. No, they understand. So though he is telling I am imbibed that spirit from mother, at the same time He's telling, I did not receive much special affection or indulgence from my mother. She was always busy with work. Among those 25 or 30 boys, I was just one of them. No separate food was prepared for me. I ate along with everyone else. Sometimes people would say she does not show enough care or affection to her own son. My mother would reply, he is his child, God's. He is his child, not mine. He has kindly given me to him. He himself will take care of him. But unfortunately, Mahapurush Maharaj, when he was just 9 years old, his mother passed away. The moment she left this world, my father's income began to decline. Though he continued his acts of charity, he could no longer give as freely as before. I consider myself extremely fortunate to have been born to such parents. My father's spirit of sacrifice, of charity was immense. Though he earned a great deal of money, he never even built a good house for himself. He spent everything in the service of the poor. My father also was a great devotee. I told a devotee of Mother Kali. At night, he would cry uncontrollably, saying, Mother, O Divine Mother, you still haven't shown me your grace. That was his father. So when his loving mother, Mahapurush Maharaj's loving mother, passed away, leaving behind a 3-month-old infant daughter, it is easy to imagine what a profound blow it must have been to the tender heart of 9-year-old Taraknath. And it went like that. Many incidents happen in their family also. They have he had other sisters also. One of them was Chandi Devi, who passed away after when she became a mother of, I think, 2 children probably. So she passed away. Another sister, Shiroda, she returned to their ancestral house as a young widow. And this little sister, Niroda, that 3-month-old, so he took care of all of them. But at the same time, he had a different mindset. With a very good samaskara, he was born. So time to time, whenever he would get some time, he would visit some places. One of those places was Bora. The name of the village was Bora. So he would visit that place. It was their ancestral village. So the biographer of his life, Swami Shivananda's life, Swami Apurvananda, he wrote, the natural surroundings of Bora was exceedingly beautiful. Vast green fields stretched out on all sides. Here and there lay ponds filled with lotus and water lilies, and amidst groves of mango, coconut, and other trees stood homes and temples. A calm and serene Bengal village, adorning the village with a quiet, enchanting beauty. It was as though the serene and untainted harmony of Bora's peaceful nature provided the perfect atmosphere for the awakening of the latent divine spirit within the soul of the future great one. And he loved nature. Time to time he would go and visit different places. So, but at the same time, that awakening of that spirituality, it was happening inside him. So at some point, when after some years, he got one job in a railway, Indian railway, and he thought that he might travel And in those days, nowadays I do not know, you would get some special pass. With that pass, as a railway employee, you can visit many places. So when he got the job, took the job, those ideas also was in his mind. And they need some kind of earning, because father's condition was not good as earlier. So he wrote about Mahapurush Maharaj. He told about his those days. From childhood, worldly life never appealed to me. The feeling of a spiritual life was strong within me. The desire to travel across the land and visit various holy places was perhaps a samaskara from birth. I worked on the railway and called upon God. At that time, the Brahma tendency was strong within me. I was drawn to the formless aspect of God. So it was, if you know little bit of the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that was the time the Brahma movement was going on. That side, one side, Devendranath Tagore and Keshav Chandra Sen, Shivanath Shastri, they were great orators and the leaders of Brahma movement. And some collision was happening. One side, that English government and missionaries, and other side, Orthodox Hindus. So in between stood these Brahmos. They were standing there. So many, especially the young college boys, they felt some kind of attraction to this new movement. So he had that kind of tendency. So I was drawn to the formless aspect on God. They would say this worshipping this image of God is idolatry. So they didn't have the idea, the philosophy behind that. So apparently that was the thing. So naturally they had some kind of interest in formless aspect of God. On moonlit nights or on dark nights when the stars blazed brightly, I would sit gazing at them, dissolving myself into the vast silence. This is important. Why we are saying all this? Dissolving myself. Dissolving I. So from the very beginning to forgetting your limited that identity. It was very prominent in him. So dissolving myself into the vast silence. Looking toward him, I would pray with yearning heart, O Lord, may you reveal yourself in my heart as joy. Please reveal yourself in my heart as joy. Ananda Swarupa. Ananda, we call it Sat Chit Ananda. That reveal yourself in my heart as joy. But he told very clearly, yet I was not a rigid adherent of formlessness. I never harbored any disrespect or aversion towards Kali or other forms of the divine. I myself, however, was more drawn to his vast formless aspect. From childhood, I had taken part in the worship of Mother Kali at home and partaken of the prasad with reverence. Still, I would wonder how that infinite God could be confined within so small a form. He is all-pervading, he is vast. So that question was there in my mind. Because in his family, he have seen that Kali worship and all those things. So while that when he was working in the railway, at some point he stayed some years at Ghaziabad in UP, Uttar Pradesh, North India, and sometimes also he spent some years in Mughal Sarai. So at Ghaziabad, what happened? He lived in the same house with a senior railway officer. Immersed in his own way in meditation and devotional singing to the accompaniment of his ektara, a musical instrument with one string. And it was those days it was some kind of fashion also. That if you read carefully Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you can find those named Mohima Chakraborty. In those days, a fashion kind of thing. Buy an ektara, one string, that instrument, and just chant that Omkar. Om, like the music. So he had that ektara. He would often lose himself completely. Suddenly, one day, that officer fell gravely ill and passed away. After the funeral rites were completed on the nearby river bank, Taraknath returned home, took up his ektara, and began to sing. A beautiful song, and we can see still that song. We sometimes in different festivals we sing Daya Ghano Toma Hano Ke Hitokari. A beautiful song. So it means, O ocean of compassion, who is there like you, my benefactor? It goes on. Who else is a friend alike in joy and sorrow, the remover of grief, pain and fear? So you are my only friend that is always with me in fear, pain, in sorrow, or in joy. As he sang, he became utterly absorbed. When he regained outer awareness, he found the house empty. The family of the departed gentleman had already left and moved elsewhere. He once narrated this incident quite simply in a conversational mood. So at that time still, my mind was greatly stirred by thoughts of samadhi. What is samadhi? A burning longing filled my heart to forget the entire world and remain absorbed in the bliss of samadhi. So samadhi means where there is no I. There are different kinds of samadhi. Savikalpa samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, goes on. So here, in that context, he wanted to forget his that I. He wanted to merge with that infinite. So images of Shiva in meditation and of Lord Buddha in meditation, that Shiva Murti. Shiva is sitting in a meditation posture, Buddha is sitting in a meditation posture. That kind of images appeal to me deeply. In short, my soul was restless to attain samadhi. And I made intense efforts towards that end. Month passed, sleep would not come easily at night. Constantly there was only one thought: how can samadhi be attained? Now he came to Mughal Sarai, a different place, not far away from Ghaziabad. He had a companion named Prasanna Babu, in whose heart religious feeling was also very strong. They shared the same room, engaging together in spiritual discussions and devotional practices, and sometimes devotional singing also. So one day, when he expressed his desire of samadhi, Prasanna Babu, so I want that. So then, in that course of conversation, Prasanna Babu remarked, in this age, modern age, in this Kali Kala, Kali Yuga we call, this present age, it is so much of materialism. Hardly you can find some person who experienced samadhi. But I know one person. I have heard of him. This is Sri Ramakrishna. So, there was, however, one person at Dakshineshwar, Paramhansa Deva, who truly entered samadhi. From that moment, he heard Paramhansa Deva's name from Prasanna, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa. That was, in those days, they would call Sri Ramakrishna as Paramhansa Deva. Now, so especially in the Western world, people may get confused. So we only say that Sri Ramakrishna. So it's the same person. So now Taraknath's heart grew restless with the longing to see him. I have to go to Calcutta and Dakshineshwar, and we have to meet with Sri Ramakrishna. So it took 2.5 years after that. Because in that point, the relative of Shivananda, his pre-monastic name was, I forgot, and that Taraknath Ghoshal, that was his name. So, Taraknath. So, Taraknath's relatives began urging him to come to Calcutta. So he got a job at the office of Mackinnon, Mackenzie and Company. He came to Calcutta, joined the service, and stayed at the house of one of his relatives. And it was strangely, it was very close to the house of Keshav Sen, the Brahmo leader. So he would visit Keshav Sen's house now and then. So he was a great orator, and he had immense influence on that, especially that youngsters, the young generation of Kolkata and all over India, of course. So he wrote, I used to go often to Keshav Sen's house and join in the worship. It was quite good. Keshav Babu was a very emotional man. During worship, he would sometimes burst into tears. Many people offered him alms during the services. At times, he would cook himself. Others would gather all the ingredients and he would finish the cooking himself, Keshav Sen, at least that particular time. In those days, many people regarded Keshav Babu as an incarnation. After the meal, there would be a rush to take the food left on his plate as prasada, as offered food. Though I liked their worship, I always felt that something was lacking in depth. Very nice, very good, that conversation, discussion, very good. But something is lacking, some depth. Some depth was lacking. So everything seemed rather superficial. I did not quench the thirst of my soul. I would return home late at night, weep bitterly and pray, O Lord, immerse me completely in your thought. Show me the true path. Teach me how to forget the world and worldly life so that my mind may enter into samadhi. So after some times, the relatives with whom Taraknath was staying moved to Shimlapalli, to a house close to that of Dr. Ramchandra Datta. Ramchandra Datta was the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. That family was also closely associated with Ram Babu. One afternoon, sometime around May or June of 1880, Sri Ramakrishna, surrounded by devotees, graciously visited Ram Babu's house. So this new house was very close to another devotee who was a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, Ramchandra Datta. So, and sometimes we do satsang nowadays, going to different devotees' house, and so it was started by Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna's way was, I would visit that place, but you have to invite other some devotees also. Without devotees, God is incomplete. Yeah? So he went there, and Taraknath heard Sri Ramakrishna, the man of Samadhi, he came to visit to that house. So he went there. So Taraknath, he wrote, when I reached there, I saw the house packed with people. Many more were standing outside, gazing at him with rapt attention, ears straining to catch his words, pushing through the crowd. The details are important to understand. Pushing through the crowd, I saw that the master, that is Sri Ramakrishna, was still in a state of divine absorption, some kind of bhava, we call ecstatic mood. He was unable to speak. He heard, where am I? He asked. Someone replied, at Ram's residence. You are here. Ram? Which Ram? Dr. Ram. Okay. I'm in Ram's house. After remaining silent for a while, you see, interesting, he slowly began to speak about samadhi. He described the different kinds of samadhi, the states experienced in them, different kinds of samadhis, and the signs by which it could be recognized, speaking at length I was utterly astonished. For so long, my mind had been in deep turmoil, longing to understand this very thing. I had asked so many people, yet no one had been able to give me a satisfying answer. And that day, Sri Ramakrishna, the Master himself, was speaking preciously on Samadhi. His words seemed to pierce straight into my heart, and my soul danced with joy. From the very first sight, my mind was drawn irresistibly toward him. I felt certain that one who could speak so simply of Samadhi must surely have realized it. This indeed is a true great soul. If somehow I can obtain his grace, I too shall be blessed with Samadhi. So that was the connection with Sri Ramakrishna. And it is interesting to know that it seems he went to Dakshineshwar before Naren Rakhal. According to Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, around 1881, they first visited Dakshineshwar. So maybe Swami Shivananda, that is Tarak, he went before them. So now what happened? One of the Taraknath's colleagues at the office lived in the village of Dakshineshwar. After consulting with them, Taraknath set out for Dakshineshwar on Saturday. So probably we can, interesting, the biographer, this is a huge job. You have to do a lot of research. So he tried to find out which month it would be. Which month? So he found in some course of the conversation, Mahapurush Maharaj, that is Swami Shivananda, he told, my friend brought some mangoes for Sri Ramakrishna. So from that point, he remarked, maybe it may be June or July. But that is the time. So there are some detective, these biographers. So he found maybe it is a month of June and July. Nowadays, throughout the year you can get mangoes, but it was a different time. Okay, so as they walked toward the master's room, they saw him standing on the western semicircular veranda, facing the Ganga, as though waiting for someone. Interesting. Sri Ramakrishna, very simple life. But if you read little carefully, interesting, that day Taraknath went, he was talking about Samadhi. And he was waiting for somebody in the west semicircular veranda facing the Ganga. Who have seen the photograph of Dakshineshwar, they can visualize. The moment Taraknath saw him from a distance, he seemed to be seized by an inner spell and went straight up to him, offering his obeisance. With great affection, the master asked, "Have you seen me anywhere before?" He said, "Yes, when you had visited Ram Babu's residence, I also went to see you." After exchanging a few words about Ram Babu's welfare, he grew somewhat absent-minded, Sri Ramakrishna. And that absent-minded is different. So that's forgetting about the world, losing the outer consciousness. That was the meaning of absent-mindedness in case of Sri Ramakrishna. So he took Taraknath with him into his room and sat down on the small cot. Overcome by an upsurge of feeling, Taraknath, this is interesting. Overcome by an upsurge of feeling, Taraknath laid his head on Sri Ramakrishna's lap and again bowed to him, while the master gently stroked his head. Different kind of offering salutation. With that touch, Taraknath's entire being was filled with an inexpressible joy. At the very sight of the master, a single feeling had arisen in his heart: mother. Interesting. Not guru, not avatar, my mother. When we discuss about the Matri Bhava of Sri Ramakrishna, we discuss about Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. So it's the important point to note, that mother aspect of Sri Ramakrishna, Matri Bhava we call. So I did not think of him as man or woman. He saw only the living presence of the compassionate mother, so intimate, so near, such tenderness in the gaze, such overflowing love that he felt when he first met Sri Ramakrishna. Later days, we can get a glimpse of the depth of this mother-child relationship. So, in following years, when somebody asked about that feeling to the Swami Shivananda, some devotee probably or some monk. So then he mentioned the master too, some details about that incident. The master too looked upon me as his child. Later, whenever I went to see him, instead of bowing from a distance like others, I would lay my head on his lap and bow. His heart would overflow with vatsalya, some kind of that is Yashoda to Krishna, parental love, motherly love. And he would draw me close to his chest and caress me, just as a mother does his little child. What divine grace that was! One day he asked me, "How do you feel about me?" No guru, no, like that. How do you feel about me? I replied, "Why, you are my mother." Consciousness embodied. He told, Chinmoyi Ma, Chinmoyi, Chitmay, that an embodiment of the consciousness. It took a form as mother. Like that, I felt. His face then lit up with a heavenly smile. And Shivanandaji once wrote to an inquiring devotee, "Know this much, that he loved me like his own child. There is no need to know more than that." So that relationship was established. He started going at Dakshineshwar, and many, many incidents happened, some kind of realization about his diksha, about his initiation. Just as a mother bird knows the right moment to crack the shell with a gentle tap of her beak, and bring forth the chick, so did the master, through his extraordinary spiritual power and his insight, that yogic insight. He could understand what is going on in the heart of this disciple, of this child. So, knowing, she knows that when, how, and in what manner to guide each aspirant, and he acted accordingly. So, in Yoga Sutra, let us go. We are talking about dissolving this I, samadhi. Why we are discussing all this? You should know the necessity, the importance about the discussion. Otherwise, this 1 hour will be lost. You should know why you are discussing. So, Premeshanandaji, there is a small booklet, Patanjala Yoga Sutra. Probably you have heard of that, Yoga Aphorism of Patanjali. Premeshanandaji, in his unique way, it was actually the book, it's about some notes, it's not a proper book. Some notes are there. So he started like that in the beginning, thousands of years ago. The thinkers, the sages of India, they tried to find out what is the truth, what is the reality behind this creation, this world that we feel. They tried to figure out. So they found something. As the scientist of the modern age, what they do, whatever they find, they find something about science, about or maybe this material science. They try to implement, they try to apply those new knowledge to help the mankind. No? So every day we are this, now AI came. No? So from where it came? From their research, from the laboratory. They thought well about, so that you are getting that updates, no? That you need to update your phone. So that's a different business. But apart from that, when you discover some new knowledge, you try to apply to help the humanity in a positive way. So they also tried to find out this, whatever I'm talking about, thousands of years ago. So how to implement, how to spread this idea to this, how to share this knowledge with the humanity, how to implement. So they thought, in the very beginning, we should help that to how to make your body and mind strong. How to make your body strong. So they discover a new branch of knowledge. It is called Ayurveda. Medicinal plant and all those things. Discover that the beginning of, that medicine. And the upper, this is one way, about your body. And about your mind, they started to, they invented some ways, some techniques, how to calm down your mind. Now we talk about so much about psychology and different branches. They started thinking, so you have to take care of your body and your mind also. So they invented some techniques of worship, of contemplation, the worship of gods and goddesses, and through symbolism, they started. Then with that, with that worship, because we are talking now about your mind. So through that worship, through those, when you follow all those techniques, even many initiated devotees are there. Some are initiated, some are not, some are interested to take. So all those initiation process, actually, that all, all those philosophies, techniques, are in a subtle way, it is there. So what you are following, so it is not an ordinary thing. Behind that, the science is there of your mind, science of mind. So when they found, when you continue to follow that kind of mental exercises, your mind becomes fine. We call sattva guna. It sometimes it slowly it relinquishes that baser form of your mind, like laziness and all those things, slowly. And then aggression. We are talking about tamas and rajas, anger, all those things. So when you get, some amount of sattva guna, so you get some clarity. With that knowledge, you can understand the surrounding, the circumstances, the stages of your life, and you know better how to solve those problems. So from them, slowly, how beautifully he told here, at some point, when we have various faculties, we want to do some work, we call karma. We have emotion, there is bhakti. You have you want to know, that is jnana yoga. And you want to concentrate, contemplate, that is dhyana yoga. When you do that, sometimes you want to know something, that joy, that pleasure, that is never ending. All of the joys of the world, it ends. But you want something ever ending, never ending, that one. So from that point, the idea of those strange ideas, it might sound, that Nitya Vrindavana, Nitya Krishna, Kailasha, Vaikuntha, all those ideas. Have you heard of these words? Vrindavan, it is not about that the time of Krishna. The Vrindavan is still there. Krishna was there. Now he passed. No. There's a Nitya Krishna. If you try, you can see him. There is a Rama, but there is a Nitya Rama also. So like that, it goes on. So now with that, you start, that is that you call that, at the end of that, you want to dissolve that when you are thinking, when I am here, that person was there. When there is sense of other also. Me and Krishna. So in that, if you think about form, there's the end of the form. So if I can dissolve my separate identity, then we can unite. What happened? When you can understand yourself, when you eat something, some beautiful, tasty, delicious thing, you forget about yourself. No? You're enjoying, your mind is there in the enjoyment of the food. When you see a movie, what happened? If the movie is good, you forget about time. When you are a book lover, you start reading. At some point, you forget the time. You are so much engrossed in the topic or the subject. So in daily experience, we have seen all those things. So it is called samadhi. When you forget yourself, when you are talking about the spiritual world. So it is not you and me. It is all you. If you talk about bhakti, and it is all me if you talk about jnana. So it is there. So how to do that? How to do that? So they say that there are, it starts like that, yoga chitta vritti nirodha, the first or second. First one is yoganusasanam. No, I am going to discuss about this yoga philosophy. This is the first aphorism. Second one is that yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So whenever I feel this word, there are many vrittis actually. Now I am thinking about maybe maybe something, whatever we are thinking. Now a piece of apple. What happened? When you saw an apple, automatically all those thoughts come in your mind. This is an apple, first thing. It is red or it is yellow. If it is red, what kind of apple this is? It is yellow, what kind of apple this is? What was the cost? So when you see something, all those, your mind takes different forms. We call vritti, modification. When you see a pineapple, so it is your mind has created a vritti of a pineapple. When you are sad, so actually you are thinking about something, that what happened to you. So this is called vritti, the modification of mind. So in our life it is going on, going on. So they told that yoga is the restraining of the mind stuff, that is chitta, from taking various forms. Next one, at that time, the time of concentration, the seer rests in his own state. So when there is a cessation of thoughts, what happened? The seer, that it rests. At other time, you are busy. So it talks about the fourth one is, at other times, other than the time of concentration, the seer is identified with the modifications. You are busy, your mind is busy. Think about your life. Now you are thinking about something, very next moment something else, then something else, something else. And when you get tired, there is nothing. So we call this nidra, sleep. So there are these 5 kinds of these vrittis are there. So how to stop that? They are called abhyasa and vairagya. Constant practice and vairagya. Have a dispassion, I do not like this. If you want to leave some addiction, if you have maybe an addiction of phone, many of us, almost all of us nowadays, what you have to do? First, you have to convince yourself, I have spent with my phone or something else. I got nothing. First thing, you have to convince yourself, I got nothing. Then, for this kind of thing, I have thought so much, I got nothing. Maybe last birth I did like that, the previous birth like that. Same way it is going on with me. So I need a stop. I want to rest. I am busy, always busy with my thought. No? Proper, that's why they called, Shankara told once, Nidra Samadhi Sthiti. What is Nidra? What is sleep? When you are established in Samadhi. Samadhi means when there is no thought process. Real rest. So first thing is, you have to understand, I am gaining nothing out of this, all those, the circus or business is going on. First thing. Next thing is, you have to do something. So, when you have to do something, there are many options. Patanjali, he gave. Many options are there. One of that, he called, like, Vitaraga Vishayang Vachittam. There are many ways. We cannot read all the aphorisms. Many ideas, very clues he gave there. Out of that, most practical, most easiest one that we are following. So it says, Vitaraga Vishayang Vachityam, or by meditation, how to fix your mind? By meditation on the heart that has given up all attachment to sense objects. Think about that heart given up all attachment to the sense object. Swami Vivekananda, he explained that one. Take some holy person. You have to think about a heart. So, that heart must be of a holy person. So, take some holy person, some great person whom you revere, some saint whom you know to be perfectly non-attached, and think of his heart. That heart has become not attached, and meditate on that heart, it will calm the mind. How easy. So whenever we discuss about these biographies of this great soul, even there are that another series, Inspiration Relationship with Swami Vivekananda direct disciples, we are actually we are following Patanjali Yoga Sutra unknowingly. So easiest way to calm your mind is that to read or maybe meditate. Actually, through this reading, what we are doing? We are thinking about Mahapurush Maharaj. We are thinking about his heart. So, today there is Zoom class? No. So I can continue. Okay. So today there is no Zoom class. So I can spend another 5 or 10 minutes probably. So this is the goal. So now you understand what we are doing now. So let us now return to Mahapurush Maharaj, Shivananda ji. You see, if you think, examine your what is happening in your life, you will find some important clues. So one, the topic, how to steal your mind, how to calm your mind, we put Vitaraga Vishayang Vachittam. Think a heart of a holy person. There are many other things also. They call Ishvara Pranidhanadva. So surrendering yourself, thinking about Ishvara, to God, think of God. So now here, God, according to Advaita, Vedanta, or maybe the Dvaita Vedanta, which is the Vedanta, and Yoga philosophy is different. So according to Yoga philosophy, Ishvara means that Ishvara, the supreme ruler, is a special Purusha, a being, untouched by misery, actions, their results and desires. That's all. We are talking about certain philosophy. Don't mix up with Vedanta. Vedanta philosophy. According to Yoga, they think he's only a being of a great caliber being who is untouched by misery, actions and the results and desires. And in him becomes infinite that all-knowingness which in others is only a germ. So who is Ishvara? First thing I have told, there is no touch of misery, sorrow and all those things. And in him, in him becomes infinite, that all-knowingness, I know everything. In that Ishvara, this all-knowingness, it has become infinite. He's a sarvagya, he knows everything. And others, what's the difference with Ishvara and us? In that all-knowingness is there, but in a germ. Interesting. Huh? According to yoga philosophy, in us, we are alpagya. We know little. Huh? And he is sarvagya, knows everything. But that sarvagya tva, this all-knowingness, is there in us also, but in a germ. Interesting. Think about that. Now, Swamiji, let us follow Swami Vivekananda, what he wanted to say. He's writing, the mind just always travel between two extremes. You can think of limited space, but that very idea gives you also unlimited space. Close your eyes and think of a little space. Try to think, little space. At the same time that you perceive the little circle, you have a circle round it of unlimited dimensions. It is the same with time. Try to think of a second. You will have, with the same act of perception, to think of time which is unlimited. So it goes on. You see. I hope you got that. Just the latest one. If you think about second, just try to think about second. Already there is a notion, I am thinking a little fraction of time. That is, within bracket, a little portion of infinity. No? Huh? When you are thinking about a second, actually the notion is there behind that idea. It's a part of infinity. So, the idea of infinity is always there as a germ in every thought of ours. When you are thinking, I want to enjoy some kind, I think of enjoyment. Actually thinking a part of enjoyment, it has a finite value. Actually we want a never-ending pleasure, never-ending joy. So this germ is always there. So dissolving I, that's what I'm saying, there's an immense practicality when we discuss all those things. That I wanted to say. At every moment, it is whenever you're listening, when you are trying to think over that, you are breaking that huge, that the mountain of I. There are beautiful kind of things. In Vaishnava tradition, in a Padavali, I never thought, we've discussed all those things. So the idea was there, a pada, they call pada. Jnanadas was the writer who composed that pada. Pada means is poetry. The idea was that Radha, the divine consort of Krishna. So it is just a poetry kind of thing. So she went to the Yamuna, the river, to fetch some water. And that water, suddenly he found that Krishna in that water. Now, she wanted to touch Krishna. So, when he touched the water, waves, it became wavy, ripples came in that. So, he could not touch Krishna. So now Gyanadasa, the idea, you see, it looks like simple. A story, a story, not a story even, a scene. You can visualize it. But what is the idea? We are looking, okay, let me finish that one. But real Krishna was not in the Yamuna. There was a tree, stood in the bank of Yamuna. Krishna was sitting in a branch of the tree and playing fruit. So Krishna was not in the water, actually. He was on the bank of the Yamuna, sitting on a branch of a tree. So, this is the way they expressed. We hear all those stories, but behind that, philosophies are there. What is the philosophy? We are looking for the bliss again, pleasure, the joy. So joy through mind is just like a lake. That little bit joy, having a good iPhone, having a good good phone, having a good phone, have a good lunch, or a travel to somewhere place. We are looking for joy. But real joy, it's the only reflection of that supreme joy, wherever you visit. So, real, that Krishna is sitting here. So that inwardness, just we are looking outside of the window. Look what is there inside the room. It is all. Nava kamal mein hai kasturi. That goes on. So there's a masked deer. It looks for the fragrance, the beautiful fragrance it is getting. But she, it hardly knows that it is in his navel, in his body. So through all those examples, the central idea is that yoga chitta vritti nirodha. We're thinking about all those chitta, modification of mind, sad, joy, going on. That how to come down, one of the, we have found, that just it will help you immensely. When you read, if you, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, whatever you read, contemplate, you have to. So, okay, let us conclude with Mahapurush Maharaj, because that was our main theme. Some incident. So he had, later when he returned, when Sri Ramakrishna passed away, he went to different pilgrimages. So after passing away of Swami Brahmananda, he became the president of Ramakrishna order. So he wrote in one of his letter, I know only this, that I am a servant who has taken refuge at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. When he graciously causes me to remember him, I remember him. When he makes me study, I read books. When he wishes, I speak on spiritual matters with others. That is all my work. My sole reliance is on Sri Ramakrishna's grace. Now I shall remain wherever the Lord places me. There is no sense of doership in me. Whatever the Lord makes me do, that alone I shall do. I have no disciples anywhere in the three worlds. I am only the Lord's servant. The way in which the Lord himself has trained me ensures that the idea of being a guru can never arise in my life. Nor do I ever pray for such a thing, for that thought does not occur at all. He was a guru, but he always thought it is Sri Ramakrishna is the guru, sitting in me. I am just offering these souls, individual souls, at his feet. That is the idea of that guru tradition in the Ramakrishna Math and mission. We always think that through me, as an instrument, Sri Ramakrishna is working. When you are purifying actually mind, you are diminishing the ego, and let Sri Ramakrishna work through you. There's in a letter, with that letter I will conclude. He wrote this letter in 1914 to a brahmachari, a young brahmachari, young novice, who had some kind of dilemma in his mind. So, in that it starts like that letter goes like that. He is writing, my health here is not too bad. Baburam Maharaj is also ill. By the Lord's grace, we shall most probably take Hori Maharaj along with us. We may stay for some time at Mihijam, and it will be necessary to make certain arrangements at Jamtara. You and all of you who have taken refuge in the Lord and the fellowship of his devotees will surely attain fullness in the spiritual life. Know this for certain, we are truly responsible for you. So the biographer wrote, that is the word. We are responsible. So from that egolessness, that humility, true humility, always give you strength. When we have less ego, we think about some kind of a person who is not confident on him. No, real submission, real surrender always give you strength. So here he is saying, you have taken refuge in Sri Ramakrishna and you are associating with me, Baburam Maharaj, Hari Maharaj. We are responsible for your that spiritual, that progress. He goes on. Once, a monk of Belur Math, crushed by intense restlessness and despair, came to Mahapurushji and said in anguish, so many years have passed in vain, and still God has not been realized. At times a terrible disbelief overwhelms my mind completely. Even the instructions we have heard from you for so long begin to seem doubtful. Important, this one. Even a monk is saying, the instruction I got from you, maybe during initiation, or maybe so many years passed in vain. I think that a terrible disbelief overwhelms my mind completely. So he asked Mahapurushji. Mahapurush was told, look, my child, if the master is true, then we too are true. Means we are disciples, we are sons of Sri Ramakrishna, also true. What we are saying is absolutely true if we have not come here to deceive anyone. If we were to sink, you would sink with us, if I am wrong. But by His grace, we know this, we shall not sink, and neither shall you. That was his word. So, time is, so we have to, so we'll discuss. We'll get future many opportunities to discuss more and more about this particular aspect of Mahapurush Maharaj. Mahapurush Maharaj, in Sri Ramakrishna's disciples, their embodiment of different kind of aspect of Sri Ramakrishna. So it is so unique in Mahapurush Maharaj. So in when we'll get opportunity in future, we'll continue. So Brahma Swarupa Brahmagya Brahma Bhave cha Tatpara Brahma Bija Swarupena Jagad Bija Namastute. Thou verily art Brahman, the knower of Brahman, the constant possessor of the consciousness of Brahman. Thou art Brahman, the ultimate cause. Salutations to thee, from whom the universe has sprung. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.